The Zacks Rank, value, momentum, growth, and income all factor into Zacks Rank buys.
Well, the theme when looking for value stocks this time seems to be retail. Our value strategist Tracey Ryniec has uncovered a couple that seem interesting. She's with me now to talk about them. One is Pier 1 Imports.
Yeah, this is a turnaround story. Actually, both of these are kind of basically turnaround stories because the retail sector has been hot. It's fairly expensive right now, but I was able to find these two value companies because things haven't been going quite as well for them, but they're starting to turn, like I said. Pier 1, the global, well, they do the global furnishings.
Right.
You know, I used to own a Papasan chair back in the day. I think everybody owned that Papasan chair. That's kind of what they're famous for. They still sell it. But they've been up and down. They do, yes, oh yeah. They've been up and down. It wasn't good during the recession. There was a lot of talk that they might not survive the recession. They got hit really hard. They did survive. Shares recovered. Companies seem to be doing better. But I would say in the last year or so, it's been a couple quarters of disappointing same-store sales, and it looked like they were maybe going the other way. They had a lot of initiatives on their plate, including, you know, they were doing home delivery. They were doing a lot of online ordering. It was a thing where you could order from your local store and go pick it up. That seemed to be helping them, but this takes a lot of time, energy, a lot from the company. But again, they're seeing a big turnaround in the online sales, and that's where, with the furniture makers, you wouldn't think you would go on there to buy a chair or a couch or things, but people are. They saw their same-store sales on the e-commerce side up to 17% this last quarter. Same-store sales overall were about 2%. It's not awful, but some of the other furniture and home goods companies are doing a little bit better. They did say they saw a little bit better comps going into May and June, so going into the summer, they saw upper single digits, 4%, 5%. So they still kept their full year guidance 3 to 5%. Again, this isn't horrible. I put up the earnings estimates here. They are trending higher. It's a Zacks number 2 right now. This year, about 2% earnings growth, but next year the analysts are really expecting bigger turnaround, about 17% gain. So things are looking up. Like I said, you're playing for the turnaround. But you can see that the shares here, they've been split over 50%. So over the last 2 years, they've just been sinking. They hit a recent low. They're trading around 11 to 12 times. That's pretty cheap. It's not as cheap as you kind of hope to get it at, but they have a lot of cash. They got almost 100 million cash on hand. They're buying back shares, and they pay a decent dividend, almost 3% yield.
Really?
Yeah, so because the shares have gone down, they keep paying that same dividend, so the yield has gone up. You know, it's still, like I said, this turnaround play, but furniture is popular. They've been around 50 years, and they got the Papasan chair.
Yeah. And what else could you want, right? The other company is Best Buy. Now, for a while, there were a lot of people who thought that company would be on the ropes.
That's right. Similar to Pier 1, coming out of the recession, it did not look good for Best Buy. Their problem was really Amazon, and, you know, the whole, you would use Best Buy as like your showcase, and you'd go there, try all the products, figure out what you want, and then order it on Amazon. So it was kind of do or die for them a couple of years ago, and they're not dead yet. They're still hanging in there.
Still, yeah.
As you can see, I posted their earnings estimates. They're also rising here. They had a really good second quarter just a little bit ago in late August, and it kind of surprised people, I think. They saw a big increase in major appliances, mobile phones were strong for them, and the iWatch, they didn't say exactly how many sales they were having there, but they're giving it a little more love going into the holiday season, giving it a more prominent place in the store, and their deal with Apple seems to be paying off for them. They kind of have this, you know, teaming up thing going on now, and so they got a couple good products, and that's helping the bottom line. You can see earnings growth this year only expected at 3%, next year about 9%, but given that they were near death, that's not a bad thing. You
wrote recently that they finally got out of China altogether.
That's right.
How's that helping them?
Well, China's weak right now, and China, they just got beat up really badly over there. I mean, you'd think, oh, the big, you know, tech retailer can go over there. There's all these people who want to buy their products, but it just was not a good match. It didn't work. So they finally sold out of all of that, and now China's weakening, so they have no exposure to that. They're in Canada. Canada has been a little weak for them, and then they have currency translations, but they're consolidating. They had another chain up there. They're closing down that chain. They're consolidating everything into the Best Buy brand. They are optimistic that they're turning around Canada. North America is still strong. Same-store sales are up here. Well, in domestic, as they call it. And then they're in Mexico, not quite as big down there, but emerging middle class down there, so that's a good market for them too. You can see I put up the chart. They were, shares showed the near death in 2014 here. They have rebounded off this good solid earnings report. They're not super cheap, 13 times, 14 times. That's still a value play. I would have liked to get them when they were, in the dark times a little bit more here in 2014. But they're also buying back shares. They also pay a nice dividend yield. They got cash flow going. Doesn't look like, they're going to be going down anytime soon. But
they're off the ropes for now.
They are. They're still in the turnaround mode.
Okay. Do you own either one?
I do not.
All right. We have more stock information on our website, Zacks.com. You can go on over if you're not there watching this video already and link to it all off the homepage. If you're watching the video on YouTube, any of our videos for that matter, don't forget you can subscribe to them and even comment on them. Meantime, with Tracey, I'm Terry Ruffalo.